everyone, and welcome to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. This is the show that's going to help you become your best self. And this week we are speaking about being your own mentor, and we are closing down that topic by today speaking about keeping yourself encouraged. So my whole life, I always had to be the one that kept myself encouraged. And it's really only because I was put down a lot, spoken to with a super condescending attitude. It really gets to me. And I lacked people that believed in me the majority of my childhood and adolescent life. And you might think this is not a big deal. Maybe you're also on the side of, yeah, I had to encourage myself as well. I had to pick myself off out of the puddle of crying that I was all by myself. And if that's true, that's great. That's great because you are able to be strong and be there for yourselves. But there are also people that I know that have that support system, have that encouragement coming in from other people all the time on the regular. And while that is so amazing and a blessing, it is something that we shouldn't lean too far into, And with me, the things that I went through, those experiences for sure helped me a ton understand that I need to be there for myself. And I encourage everyone to have this mindset and have this thought of you need to be there for yourself because, as negative as it may sound, you can't always rely on other people. It is just not the way that we should go about, at least with encouragement and, being able to pump yourself up and encourage yourself and motivate yourself to get things done. Sure, you can rely on other people to be in your life to help you with this, that, and the other, but also life changes. Like with the blink of an eye and the turn of the wind, you never know what's going to happen next. So I'm not saying that you need to have a hard heart because I know that a lot of people might go into that mindset of now I feel like you're telling me to have a hard heart and make sure I do everything on my own and not trust anyone and develop even deeper control issues. Is that what you're saying, Sabrina? That is not what I'm saying. Specifically because I do struggle with control issues. So I understand. No, I'm not leading you down that path. I just want to make you aware that there are a lot of things that we need to be doing for ourselves because we are important enough to do it for ourselves. You need to tell yourself that I am important enough that I can encourage myself. I can motivate myself. Yes. But back to what I was saying, I need to be, and you need to be the first one to pick yourself up when you're down. You have to be. And, if you wait for someone else to do it first, because that's what you're used to, or that's what you would prefer, or that's what seems like the easiest thing to do, as opposed to being more self-aware of understanding how you're feeling and then having to figure that out, it might not happen for quite some time. And especially if you are used to this happening and then all of a sudden it stops happening, right? You don't want to be in that situation either. So if you are currently in the situation of having those people in your life, I suggest that you start taking it upon yourself to learn how to do it for yourself so that if something happens, you are prepared. And I don't want this to have a negative shadow over it, but I just want everyone to be prepared to be able to be themselves, be their best selves in even the darkest, hardest of times. So encouragement is one of those things that a lot of times we expect to come from outside of us, as I've already mentioned. We usually think someone else needs to come from behind us and lend some motivation, inspiration, encouragement to us when we are down. And it doesn't really seem like something we should have to do for ourselves because there is this thought that we have people in our life to come pick us up. And maybe you're like, I've never thought about it that way, but I encourage you to take a step back and widen your perspective and really ask yourself, have you thought of it in that way? Because I feel like a lot of us have thought of it in that way at one time or another, where it's much easier for you to call up a friend, a family member, your spouse, partner, whomever, someone at church, pastor, to be like, can I tell you what I'm going through? These are the things I'm struggling with. What do you got for me? How can you motivate me? How can you encourage me and inspire me right now? How can you help me pick up my crying face off the ground and wipe away the tears and tell me that it's going to be okay? Because it just feels a lot better when it's coming from someone else, because it feels like someone is taking care of you. They're cuddling you in a metaphorical kind of way, like not like literally. Maybe they're giving you hugs if you're okay with that, but you know what I mean? They're comforting you and you are feeling like everything is going to be fine. But you are not always going to have the opportunity for someone to do that for you. And you know what? I'm here to say, yes, capitalize and really dive deep into the opportunities that you do have those people in your life and you have access to them and they are there for you when you need them. But you can't rely on that. You have to be able to do it on your own, because we all need to be prepared to do certain things on our own when we move into these different seasons of life and, just people and things in our life change. But I also want to mention other people in our lives are not in control of our feelings and how we rebound from whatever we are going through. Others may be a helpful influence, but they aren't the main resource to look to. They absolutely aren't. You are the only one that has total control over how you're feeling and what needs to be done to move forward from your current struggle. And I feel like a lot of us, we just will say, oh, this person just really encourages me, and which is great. It's fantastic. Take as much of that as you can, but do not feel like you are handing over your feelings, your emotions, everything about you to this person and then trusting that they are going to deal with it in the best way that they can. You're just giving away so much control and being like, okay, I need you to just fix this for me because you're really good at it. And maybe they are good at it, but it's still not their responsibility. It's not their job. It is your responsibility. And even if they do try to do something, it doesn't mean it's actually going to help or it's going to take in the best way, because you got to figure out what is best for you. So, but yeah, you are the only one that has total control over your feelings. And, we will have to be the person that is there first to look towards the gratitudes that we have and remember the blessings in our lives and pull ourselves up so we can move on with our lives from whatever we're going through. And we shouldn't be looking to someone else to do that for us anyway. We really shouldn't. We don't need to rely on others for something we can do just as well. We can. You can encourage yourself just as well as someone else with practice and time and patience and willingness to actually do it, right? Let's not forget that part. You have to actually be willing to do it. And you have to discipline yourself that you go to yourself first. And then if you are still lacking and if you can find a resource that can help you get even more encouraged, then yes, seek that out. But it should be you first and then someone else second. And we need to be able to do it on our own. We need to be able to do it on our own, as I alluded to before, because just in case those relationships change and fade. Relationships change and fade all the time. Now, maybe there's going to be people in your life that are a constant, like your family, your partner, and maybe a couple other people that are just in your community and they're going to be there for life. But just because people are going to physically be there doesn't mean that that relationship that you have with them is going to be there either. Again, those things will change and fade. I had super close friends only like 5 years ago, I believe, with people that I still go to church with now that I never speak to. I don't. And it's not because we had like a huge falling out or anything. It's just because the relationship faded. It just faded away because I needed it in one season of my life and then the next I didn't need it and they didn't need it and it was fine. We still say hi to each other and wave, but that's it. So it's important for you to not always, I don't mean it like that. It's important for you to not tend to try to hold on with dear life to those relationships of people that are helping you, regain your strength and confidence in whatever has caused you to stumble. You can't just rely on someone else to do that. You have to rely on yourself first and then other people secondarily. So I do have some tips. I have 5 tips on how to, encourage yourself and do a better job of that. But before we do that, as always, we are going to talk about the 5-minute reset, which is just my little idea that I came up with for a way for you to still have a good day despite what has already happened. So the 5-minute reset is just 5 minutes to take by yourself. Take more time if you have it, but all you need is 5 minutes. And it allows you to reset, reboot, restart your day right then and there. It's as if you're drawing a line in the sand and deciding that whatever has happened in the previous part of your day, and whether you're doing this right at 10 o'clock in the morning, just the start of your day, in the middle of your day, even at the end of your day before you go to bed, you could do it at any time, as many times as you need. You are deciding everything that's happened before, I'm going to leave back there, not drag it through the rest of my day or into days upcoming. And I'm going to just take the nuggets that I need to learn from whatever experiences and situations may have happened and move forward and not let it continue to take over my day, And I feel like a lot of people will stumble into the thought pattern of like one or two bad things happens in a day and it has to ruin the whole day. But that's not true. It doesn't have to. You can just draw a line in the sand and say, okay, this is over here. It's kind of like compartmentalizing things, and you're just like, okay, this happened. It did happen, but it doesn't have to affect the rest of my day. I can still have a good stinking day. So the 5-minute reset allows you to take a break from any issues or burdens that are dragging you down, causing you trouble. You can also spend some time coming up with resolutions for problems and issues that you are currently dealing with alone or with someone else. If you need to do that, I always encourage everyone to come up with a list of at least 4 things that you are grateful for. Big, small, medium size. You can be grateful for literally anything and everything. Maybe you're grateful that you were able to network and connect with someone new that you really enjoy, that you had lots of fun with. Maybe you're grateful that you finally got some kinks worked out on your website. This is me. And you're just so happy for the help and assistance you got, and things are trucking along. Maybe you're grateful that you actually had an honest and open conversation with a friend or a family member that really needed to be had, and things seemed clearer and better understanding and more love and appreciation is happening in that relationship. That is beautiful, and you should be grateful for that. Or maybe you're just grateful that you're able to sit on the couch and watch Netflix for an hour or two and take a break from everything else in your life. That's awesome as well. So you can literally be grateful for anything and everything. The list is never ending. It's a beautiful thing. But last but not least, before you end the 5-minute reset, make sure that you're feeling at least neutral, if not positive, about the rest of your day, because hopefully you will reflect back on the blessings and the positives in your life, the gratitude list that you just made, and realize that focusing more on those things rather than the negative issues and struggles you may currently be experiencing without diminishing what's happening will help you get through those hard times so much easier. So I hope that helps you. I hope that benefits you so much. Also, just a reminder, stay to the end of the show if you want to hear about where to connect with me and like earn a gift card for connecting with me on social media, and where to do reviews for the show, and also access to my website if you would like to support the podcast. However, let's jump in. So let's chat about some tips on how to encourage yourself. Like I said, I have 5 tips. The first one I have is remember your past successes, wins, and positive experiences. When we are down in the dumps, when we're having a hard day, when we're riding that struggle bus up and down all around the town, it's important and helpful for us to remember the times where we were winning at life. We were crushing our successes and our experiences, and we're having positive experiences. And I feel like you can have a positive experience even in a struggle, a hard time. And so by taking the time to reflect back on those things, you can encourage yourself and let yourself know, hey, remember I was able to get through this, or this wonderful thing happened. Or it kind of picks you up out of the mindset of believing that your life is terrible, all the bad things happen to you. When you fall into that pit of despair and depression and you're like, everything sucks, my life sucks, I hate my life, that kind of feeling. But if you resurrect the memories of the times when things were good and great, especially if it just happened recently, it'll help you get out of that funk and that mindset and realize, okay, I'm going to get through this too. It's going to be fine. No worries. Let's move right along. The second tip I have is to celebrate the progress you're making towards your goals. So if you find yourself stuck in a funk in your mind, think about the things that you are currently moving towards, that you're currently on the path to achieving, and celebrate those wins. I personally, when I have a goal, like to break it up so that there are several milestones for me to celebrate, because you've gotten to this point, and then you've gotten to this point, and then you've gotten to this point, and you're able to pat yourself on the back and give yourself some sort of, accolade or reward if you want for making it this far and continuing on the journey. Because if you just have like a start point and a stopping point, and the stopping point is the point where you've achieved it, that's a long road to travel without any sort of like, encouragement to keep going, move through any sort of like roadblocks or stumbling blocks that may get in your way of achieving that goal, right? No, you need to break it up into milestones, pat yourself on the back and be like, look, I am celebrating the progress I'm making. It feels like I'm getting much closer to the finish line and all is well. So just keep that in mind. Number 3, have those positive, encouraging influences you can glean from. So you should learn how to do this on your own. However, it is so beneficial for you to have people in your life that are encouraging and positive and, are just like people that you can glean that attitude and information from, that you can spend time with and learn how to better encourage yourself even more. And so just by spending time with them and understanding them and really like soaking in everything they have to say and what they try to do can really help you figure out your own way and remedies to help yourself be encouraged, inspired, and motivated when you need to do it whenever it comes up next. So you're just, you're learning from this positive community that you have set yourself in so you can be stronger in doing the same thing. Okay, so the 4th tip I have for you is to continue to grow and learn. I know that we recently talked about this within this topic, but it is always important to keep growing, keep learning, keep on that road of becoming your best self, which includes growing and learning. And it's the thing that really will help you with encouragement, though, is that momentum in your life provides tons of encouragement. So if you are continuing progressing towards your goals and, congratulating yourself on the milestones, but then also if you are learning and growing and like trudging through something that seems tough or hard or not something that you want to be involved in, or you realize that you're learning things quicker, or you're hitting milestones sooner, or things are just progressing a lot better than you thought, that can give you a ton of encouragement. So just continue to grow and learn and move forward in your life, and feeling that momentum and feeling like you're catching on and feeling like it's not as hard as it used to be can really provide you with encouragement, especially if you reflect back on it in a positive way and realize, wow, things are going great. The last tip I have for you today is to speak life and rewards to yourself. Speaking life to yourself is telling yourself positive things. It's telling yourself encouragement, and it can be akin to like morning motivations or affirmations. I personally love affirmations. They are so beautiful. Like, I can't even describe to you how much I love affirmations because they just help me so much. And I was at a small group the other day with a bunch of women that I really love to spend time with, and I was talking about how I love affirmations and how, they can be super cheesy, but the best way to do it is to say it out loud to yourself in a mirror, because you are actually talking to yourself. And I feel like there is a deeper connection when you're saying it out loud, because you're hearing yourself say it, but also when you're saying it in the mirror, because you are directly talking to yourself. So even if you're laughing or smiling or snickering the whole way through, if you try your hardest to believe what you're saying and look at yourself directly in the eye, you will be able to help yourself be encouraged. And you're speaking life into yourself. You're telling yourself you're doing your best. You're doing a really good job. You are awesome. Look at you. Look how much progress you've made. Look how you are able to bounce back from this, that, and the other. Look how well you're doing and how well you're taking this situation compared to how you have taken it in the past. You're really, really talking yourself up and telling yourself to keep going. But also, I encourage you to reward yourself in whatever way you feel is best at whatever milestone you think is best. So a reward could be like taking yourself out to dinner or ordering out or buying something that you've had your eye on. I definitely had a reward system in place when I was training for my first half marathon. And because I at the time in my life, I needed those kind of rewards, and we didn't have a ton of money at all, but I was able to save up money and be like, okay, once I'm able to run this many miles, I'm going to get a pedicure. Once I'm able to run this many miles, I'm going to, order this kind of expensive special treat to eat. And when I run this many miles, I'm going to be able to do this, that, and the other. And so I was able to just like create a few rewards within my training plan. And it helped drove me to, continuing on to the progress that I was making, onto the journey that I was on. And I didn't give up, and I had something to look forward to. And now rewards they can be different. They can literally just be like, okay, I get to take a break. That could be your reward. I think that's great. Or it's money, or you get to buy things, or whatever it is. Whatever system works best for you, implement that. But I feel like rewards can really, really help. So okay, you guys, well, thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. I encourage you to check the show notes below where it talks about the whole show and all the notes that you would need if you need to look back on that. There's also a transcription attached to the episode, and also where you can find me on Instagram, which is at Sabrina Joy Perozzo. If you decide to come and follow and connect with me and say hi, I generally have been sending everyone a coffee card via email, so you can get that if you decide to do that. You can also send me an email with any questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, feedback, topic suggestions, or just to say hey, hi, and hello to me. My email address is realpositivegirlpodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you go to my website, sabrinajoy.com, you are able to, again, listen to the podcast, see my YouTube channel. I am working on the blog section. It's old. Don't worry. We're coming back for it. Or you can donate to the show. So if you do go to the website, sabrinajoy.com, and then you hover over on the menu bar more, it'll give you a drop down to donate to the show via PayPal or Patreon, which both has gifts, thank you gifts, if you decide to donate and help out the show. Much appreciated if you do. But again, thank you so much for downloading, sharing, listening to the show. You're fantastic. You guys are making my dreams come true. And that's it. So until next time, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.